In chapter 2. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath.
Sholmes.
In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled Band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
It's a snack. Speckled snack. Booyah. Booyah! Steamboat Booyah.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
That voice.
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What?
Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Herlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
I'm very copyrighted. That's a nice little anime. Need more like that. My head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Bing! Wait, I can't move. What the? Don't. No. No. He's going for a two. He's going through the Maya, like, rite of passage, I guess. Why am I in handcuffs? Because you have the worst luck. So you wake up now. Oh, so I'm not going to try and do a Russian accent. we had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not... Oh, fine, I'll try it. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are true cold-blooded man. You... You found me then. Da, we found you. And now you pay. Criminal. Oh my word, this is painful. I'm doing it. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe? Sorry? Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. He's a girl. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ha! You pretend you do not know. You are a wolf in sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuse. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Oh, whoop. Do we get to keep the headband? Like, that thing had, like, superpowers, so, yeah, that's why I killed him. I needed headband superpowers. Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you are doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. Whoop. Your best friend's dead. No. Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was gonna die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey! Honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do you need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant, Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my travel case, it'll be a breeze. Yeah, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying! I tell you what, why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer? No, I'm not a murderer. Duh, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san? Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there's something I would like to ask of you, too. Ah, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try and find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside the cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor's examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis expertise. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So, presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury, then? That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what exactly happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yeah, I was, but... He'd always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this journey. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. Is no one going to approach the fact that apparently he wrote something in Russian? And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I've told you everything I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question. Yeah, alright. Oh, my head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? Than you to use logic or sense? Never! You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yeah. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? Well, you know, cuddles. I'm afraid I don't really know the answer, or the reason myself. I don't understand. Why would two men want to be holed up on a ship for multiple weeks by themselves without anyone knowing in, like, this time and age? I mean, obviously, you're just roommates. Just roommates. Roommates for many months. By yourselves, in secret. Just roommates. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been in my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I, that you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yeah, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. I need to be there to find my killer. You have a talent for it. I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at a spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then... Then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. I mean, I mean, our main character's in cuffs. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san? I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. Me stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat. Yep. We are suspected of killing him. He is the dead. I mean, your partner dies. It's not that's never happened in Phoenix Wright ever before. Nope. Kazuma brought me something to eat just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep? Well, yeah. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yeah. I know it sounds unbelievable. Really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. But for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there is no one else who could have possibly done this. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Oh, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And I was supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Yeah! What the... That was a Susato takedown. Oh, I got flipped on my ass. Hey, Susato what? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry, prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. Kazuma stick this over the doors of the wardrobe for me. It says, keep out in Japanese, so I'm not sure the Russian crew can actually read it. This is the paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember really working hard to make it, but I'll never forget how Kazuma reacted. Do you expect the Russian crew to be able to read that? He said. Still, I was sure people would get the idea even if they couldn't read it, so we used it anyway. And it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. You can see the remnants of the glue we used to stick this on the wardrobe doors. Although it was proper glue, of course, we didn't have any of that with us. So I pulverized some rice into a paste to use instead. But to a stowaway like me, every single grain of rice represents precious rations. That's why I spread it as thinly as I possibly could. Couldn't bear to waste any. I mean...
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe earlier, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Cosmo always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin stewards or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah, yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Cosmo. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor because I put you there like a bitch, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating here at least. Thank you, so you finally believe me. We didn't invite, I know. Very rude of us. I'm sorry, no. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you use some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Cosmo, I swear, I will avenge your death. The books have fallen over on the shelf. They've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mowed down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused, I forget to look around properly. Ah, yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look around with B and M, aren't you? Now let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yeah, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buddha. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have been broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? He's a pet. And the mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yeah, you're right. It's the color of a brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yeah, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Seiji, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can! I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship? Low blow? Excuse? Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yeah, it's strange. Last night, when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still. No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny, I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No! That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate it at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an aching stomach. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy, and just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. What? You just suddenly have a book? Okay. But the door of this cabin and its frames are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese. Which, in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Wait. Okay, this is just me throwing out just assumptions. I get the feeling like there was something written there, or there's some markings there, and these are covering them up. Because Kazuma would not have written this. This would be the killer, and there's no reason for the killer to do something unless to cover something up. So I bet there's like either Japanese or it might be English because of the game. Something written underneath those letters. Okay, thank you for lurk. I suppose he wrote this message by dripping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. Then what language is it? It pains me to admit, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma, he didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means, what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hi-ya! That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next cabin, to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air in the room, surely it would be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. What the fuck? Okay, hi. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed that man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruto-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. That's something very... There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk? Or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk to him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh, this is a critical point in my investigation. Oh, I don't have a voice for him. I need a voice for him, don't I? Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Or maybe I should leave at least... I'm sorry, but... Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Oh. Alright. I need to figure out a voice. And I know I'm going to go with. And people are going to love it and hate it. What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Ooh, yes. Everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There's no mystery, my dear madame. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the perpetual occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name. I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. Did you follow any of that? What? And you're plotting revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruto-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way I... Hi-ya! Everyone here is stupid. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Oh, but was I not right? What's venturing towards foreign climes? You do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ah, there you have it, you see. What do you make of that, then, hmm? Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brass certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. Ha. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The imitatable Sherlock Sholmes. Copyright. So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Sholmes? The very same. The imitatable, actual Sherlock Sholmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Now, Haru-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He'll have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Yeah, it's not really, making me feel... I feel like he's gonna be a great, character, but... great detective, in quotes. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I'm none other than the one and only Sherlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No, no, no. I have no her. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Grant's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from London especially. Ah yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Questionable. Questionable. Your inference is backwards. Backwards? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy as of late. Why, this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions to his subject. In his subject. Blah. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction, and fame. That is what makes the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Herlock Sholmes. Cosmo's dead. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right! It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Cosmo-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their numbers, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Herlock Sholmes, was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, 2 facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? 2 facts, you say? Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please, what 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes, but first, let us be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The 2 facts I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Ah. Yeah, about that second one. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Cosmo-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, they find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Cosmo was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garderobe, maybe the name of the killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observe that you are wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you are acquainted. And if memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniform are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. Oh! I made it a button. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Cosmo had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that? Oh, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Blah, blah, blah. Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean? Oh, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and the assassin of 16 part? Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary Vilin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night a young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, Vilin Bolshevik. No. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And, I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Blah 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 blah. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you? I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within the pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. And you might find the article on the back of the page interesting as well. On the back? Cast your eyes over it sometime if the interest takes you. Though, you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. Wait, did you just say you'd need someone to interpret as if I can't read Russian, though you are really annoying. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt to just glance at the article. Maybe might be a picture or two? Who the fuck this? This is interesting. I found something relevant now, Valdo-san. Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, and look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She's very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Oh, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. She's like, I want a pretty crown and diamonds. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside himself with worry. Yeah, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova bleh, and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailing to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. By responding to it. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desk of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering! Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, naro naro. I trust you're suitably impressed. Ah. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. Ah! So, what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind to show me, I'd be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madame. The final entry here in Mr. Kazuma-sama's diary consists of only 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice over there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yeah, the adjoining cabin. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writing in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe. And if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. Ah, so yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. Why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter, no? There's no point trying to turn it into a question. There's no point trying to turn it into a question. Yeah. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So, what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway. That was then, and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no... Hi-ya! I'm trying to, Lobster, but I keep getting flipped on my ass. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to just give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice on the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in the cab before we wait for a chance to slip next door. Hope there's less ass knocking later, yes. She's got a pretty sturdy throw, though. Situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice.